Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Okay,
One of those days, huh?
it's bulk spreading time.
Oh,
And at the same time, I'm actually working on my shoulder
yeah.
and they're trying to both strengthen it and loosen it at the same time. And of course, I'm spreading mulch. So they
It seems counterproductive.
seems counterproductive, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Yeah. Yeah, my shoulder has been bad forever.
Oh, really? Mm.
There's no cuff in there really.
Oh,
And there, 10 years ago, there were a couple of giant bone spurs.
oh,
So I'm sure they're still there, obviously, and maybe more. So I have to be careful with it. And I decided to give, before I go talk to an orthopedist,
yeah.
I know what they'll want to do.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
If you can help it,
yeah.
don't do it.
So PT is, uh, well, I mean, it's already begun to work a bit. I mean, I have more range of motion,
Yeah.
but the 2 days after a session, I can barely get my arm above this level, and then it
Have
goes
I
back.
ever taught you the Bagua movement that I had I've had I think three students who have virtually completely freed up shoulders
Mm,
by doing this particular exercise movement.
no, no,
Um, and it's not all that difficult. It's a movement. In Bagua, they do it with a teacup on a
okay.
here, so you're going up, over, around, and back down.
Hmm.
And if you know if that's not possible at the moment, you can make it smaller to begin with.
Yeah.
But part of it is the body movement
Mhm.
too. That as wherever the arm is going, the body has to also
Follow,
rotate and go with it.
yeah.
Um, but I had one guy who came to when he started with me, he could get his arm about this high, and in a matter of a few months, he had virtual complete motion in his arm.
Good. All right, I will certainly put that to use.
Um, so I, I found it helpful for me too.
Yeah. Okay. So
Uh, it
up, around, down.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it, with the body, don't just
Yes.
sit and do it
Yeah.
because that actually puts stress into the arm and shoulder. Morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Big-
Hey Bill. Is that the teacup
Yes.
thing?
Yep.
I remember that from very long ago. I haven't done that in ages.
Yeah.
Good to see that again. Yeah, I
That's
wouldn't huh.
it's a good one.
Yeah. Now I'm intrigued again. Would you mind at some point showing us again?
Well, I
No, I
just
think it would help. I think it would help me as well. I've got neck and shoulder problems and all, so I think it would help me as well, actually.
okay.
Okay.
Um,
Anytime. It doesn't have to be right now.
well, might as well be right now.
Okay.
Oh, no, no, I'm not in the right one. Ah, let's see.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's full room. I could see that now.
So as I was saying to Bill, one of
Yeah.
the things is to include the body movement. You don't
Right.
want to just try to wiggle your arm around because that puts a lot of stress actually into the shoulder. So,
Right. Okay.
so the body is going with this movement. So you start and end in the same place.
Okay.
And and if you'll notice that in a way, you can think about it as the fingertips leading the movement. So they're going first. Yeah, see, I really don't think you should do that sitting down.
Sitting down, yeah.
I, I'm
I
sorry.
was trying to turn, but you can't turn enough.
No, you've
Yeah.
got to have the weight shift and the rotation is part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you see that, Jeff?
Yeah, I could see it very well. Thanks.
Okay.
That's good. Now I can read it as well.
I think, oh, I think I might bring my team saw over here. I didn't have that turned on today, did I?
No, it was Silent Kingshaw.
Yep. I got distracted.
Are you recording?
No. Oh yes, no, I am recording. No, that I did do.
Yeah, it's recording. But it's funny. I mean, I could hear you speaking normally, but I don't hear the Kingshaw. Is it the sound range or something?
There's a particular sound setting I have to do, and I um, didn't do it. So,
Ah, okay.
that's why. So, questions, reports?
Nothing specific from me right now.
Okay. Anything for you?
Not the best of weeks. Um, I think I'll probably need uh, more work on the same things in the form that we
And
did last week. The
Yeah.
times I did it, I was still somehow unsure,
Yep. Okay. So, why don't you guys stand up and do the 8 gates, and I'm gonna observe today
All right.
to some degree.
Yep.
So, it definitely seems to me an improvement. I felt like both of you, however, were getting too much tension in the shoulders. And part of that was getting the elbows just a little bit too high for
Okay.
Bill. Um, always thinking of dropping the shoulders, the elbows as much as you can. That doesn't mean they're frozen down. They can
Yeah,
still move down here, but they don't have to be up here.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get here, you can see my shoulders
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
It seemed to me that bending and stretching was pretty consistent. Um, Twisting, no. Sometimes it was a little twisting, sometimes there was just bending and stretching, which is that's a good step. But we need the other
Yeah.
pieces too. So that would be a thing to try to be
Yeah.
aware of the fact that you want there to be a continual rotation
Yeah.
in each of those. Remember that you would just want the hands at the sidelines at heart level. You were out here somewhere.
Okay, yeah, overdid it, huh?
Yeah. The level was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, I felt with you, as always, your movement is pretty good to begin with. That I think it comes out of having done all this for a year or two. Um, what I felt though was that while it seemed to me twisting was pretty consistent, bending and stretching was not. It looked to me like particularly there was bending and stretching in your, if we're just looking at the arms, there was bending and
Right.
stretching in your elbows, but not always in the hands. So it
Right. Okay.
that needs to be consistent. Um,
Right.
and the last position, which is supposed to be at the middle dantian, you had back to heart level again.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so where is your middle dantian? I can't really.
Bottom of sternum,
Yeah,
right?
it's right underneath the bottom of the sternum.
Right.
So and
Okay.
admittedly, those two heights are
Close.
Yeah.
not too far apart, but there
Yeah.
needs to be a clear distinction there.
Right.
And
Okay.
um, one of the ways, to think about this, and I think I've talked through this, is that interestingly enough, each one of these postures is focused on bringing energy into and releasing used energy from a specific either organ or um, dantian point in the body.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure I have a memory anyway of talking through it one day, but I will mention it again because it is pretty important.
Right.
Here you're focusing on the upper dantian and the brain centers. And obviously here you're down at the lower dantian. That final posture should be focused to the middle dantian. So that's
Right.
those three. Heart, clearly we've talked about that. This is heart. The one just before it with the arms down in front is lungs. The down and out to the sides is actually what did I say? I don't mean lungs. Ah, this is kidneys. Get them straight, David. This is kidneys. Liver
This is lungs, right?
is down at the sides. When you come up, this is lungs.
Right.
The one to the front corners is spleen. And then you're back to middle down Tien. But so that is mentioned in the handout on the A-gate standing. So that's another way to think of what you're doing. You're not just generally pumping energy through the body. Yes, you are doing that, but you're also very specifically focusing on an organ or an energy center.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
a little side note.
Yeah, I remember that, but it was vague.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember it. It's been a while since I thought about that. Maybe next week, if you're up to doing it with us, you can talk us through those specifics on that as well.
I'm always up to doing it with you.
Okay.
So, but you can reference the handout on this, and it will give you all of those. So,
Okay.
So Bill was saying that he felt he probably needed to look at those same ending postures that we looked at last week.
Yeah,
Is
that would be good. And I'd like to look at this one where we go down and then punch low.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to look at that again, the flow of that and the rotation of the arms and hands through that too.
they're along the good old side channels.
Yeah, but we talked about it a couple of weeks ago and a couple sessions ago, and it hasn't quite sunk in because I wasn't doing it correctly up until that point. I tried working on it and I seem to have lost the nuances that we were talking about. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind looking at that again.
All right. Well, let's look at that because that's earlier in the form.
Yeah.
If you just use slightly bigger type on Zoom. Would help those of us who so I'm turning this so that this is the side facing the
Yeah.
right side facing the camera. So we get to single whip and we rotate left to bring the foot up. We're pushing down and out through that movement. And notice that the arms are in front of the body and the hands are on the sidelines of the body. They're not somewhere else.
Okay.
And then you're going forward and you have that follow step. And then this goes down and the left hand is rotating inward, pushing downward, and it's going through a slight curve going down here. So it goes down, followed by the fist, which then completes the movement.
Which way is your left hand rotating? As you go down? It's
It's
rotating
going
out.
thumb in.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Oh, I've been rotating it out. Huh.
So you come up. When you get to this point, the other way to think about this is that it's actually the little finger in. So if we look at this hand, we go here, we're out. As you come into this movement, that little finger is twisting in, and then it's twisting out and pushing down.
Hmm.
So this comes in, and then everything goes out. And there is obviously there also in that hand, it's bending in and extending out.
Okay.
Does that
Yeah. Yeah.
answer your question?
I think so, yes.
Were you doing something else too?
No, I hope not, you know, but, you know,
Okay.
practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, no kidding. So why don't you guys just do that little bit of movement and do it? Just think about doing it 4 or 5 times. Because it's just those 2 or 3 postures. Let me. So in that last movement, Jeff, you want to let everything twist and extend out.
Yeah, I was going down too straight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you get to the top of that movement, you want to have this is bent so that as it goes down, it can extend.
What was I, this way?
Yeah, you were already out here
Okay.
at the top. So when you make during that rotation into the step, everything is bending in and then it's extending out. So just timing there. So after you've gotten to here, notice that the follow step comes right away. So you're ready to extend down and wow. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. That follow step I had
You'd forgotten.
It was very late.
Oh, okay. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I mean, not this morning before this morning, it was way later. It was, when I was on the way down, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's before, it's because you want to be established to make that movement.
Okay.
Yeah. That was better, Jeff.
Yeah, that, I was just gonna say, I felt like that one felt good to me.
Good. Yeah. Um, as you go from single whip into that
Yeah,
push down, remember that you need to bend in first and twist in first. So
yeah,
as
you're right. I wasn't. I was staying out there while I was doing it. You're right. I
yeah,
wasn't coming in.
yeah. So as you go forward into this, everything is twisting and bending so that it can extend out. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can see.
big difference. I could feel as I did it that time, I felt the energy surging through my hands like I hadn't before.
Oh, good.
Yep.
You have any questions in there?
No, the timing is off, I'll have to,
Yeah. Work on,
um,
work on that.
and out of the push down. I have been sort of waving my hands between that point and this rather than deliberately getting them set. So I need to work on that.
Yeah, yeah. As you said before, practice, practice, practice. 10 minutes.
That was very helpful.
Oh, good.
Yes,
10 minutes
I know what I'm
before
doing
you
now,
do
and I can feel it.
mulch.
Yeah, well,
Good. So is it beyond that? That where is it that you need
oh,
to start after the chop with the blade?
yeah, oh, after, gargoyles is still discombobulated for me.
Oh, okay.
But I'd say from that point, yeah.
Okay. So why don't you both flow up to offering incense
Okay.
Okay, from the get-go.
from the get-go,
Yep.
from the beginning. I'm gonna stop it. When you started, you did spiral down into the light, but just watch me for a moment. You threw your hands over here
for some reason. And they kind of came up here. I mean, it felt like you didn't have any intention there. So initially, as you step, they're just expanding out. Yeah. And they're actually twisting in, is what they're doing. But then you're going to twist out as you go. So this is really just prepare, go.
Okay. Yeah, it's always in my mind been an extra movement, there, rather. Yeah, so just an expansion,
Yeah,
and then an immediate.
actually, you can think about it in terms of that this is twisting in, thumb in. This is twisting out, in, out, in, out.
Going on. With
That's
my-
nothing.
Okay. Um, I missed your wave hands, Jeff. I meant to try
Okay.
to catch that. I was so concentrated on Bill that um, so I think the thing for one thing, your hands tend to get frozen in the center, only for a moment, but they have to keep moving through the center. They don't stop moving through the center. Um, I had a feeling that you didn't really feel the ball between your hands because your hands were separating.
Well, I have been trying to work on keeping my hands from crossing
Yep,
the center line, and
that was better today.
That was-
There were a couple of
should
places,
have been,
but
but something else has suffered in the doing at this point.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing is to in wave hands to really try to feel the ball and therefore not ever get to where, you know, size doesn't make a huge amount of difference as long as there is growth and reduction in it. As long as we can see that that's all happening. I didn't feel you were much better in wave hands in not crossing the center line of the body. That definitely was an improvement there.
That's also going way too fast. I don't know what's going on this morning.
Yeah, well, that happens. Um,
Well,
Jeff,
I did excuse me, as far as my wave hands, I did pick up a few things as I was doing it that are things that I have to always work on, but my fingers in particular were not moving. They're kind of
yeah,
frozen.
yeah,
As you pointed out a couple times, I tend to go too wide and too low with it sometimes with the
yep,
ball when I did pick up on a couple of those things. I'm doing better with keeping my hands on the meridians and not crossing center. Um,
good.
so it's feeling good, but still not completely in sync by any means. So you'll catch me next time on that.
It'll come, it'll come.
Yeah.
So, one moment while the blind man changes the
So when we've gotten to offering incense, the first thing is to shift back onto the right foot. And the arms just begin to bend in. Fingers are bending a little. Nothing is twisting at that particular moment because you're just shifting the weight back onto that right foot. So you can turn left to begin to rotate and then turn right as you continue shifting back. If you get your feet in the right place, David, it'll be better as you come into that. So it's getting the that double rotation in there of turning to the left and turning to the right to complete. So obviously, you're beginning to bend in, you're twisting and bending in, and then twisting and bending out. And the out is going to be pretty small because you can't be in this position. You don't want to be here. This is obviously not the posture. So that out is going to be fairly small. So you don't have to worry about that particularly, but you are 100% back on that right foot. I'm sorry, left foot. So that you can rotate right, bending in, and left to go out into the second one. So it's the turning of the body is what's moving the arms. Right?
Right.
Why don't we just try that posture?
So David, that the whole time that after you've stepped and then you proceed to rotate back to center, that whole time you're twisting slowly out.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's generally it's a smaller movement than the rotating and twisting in.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Well, as much as I can see there, Jeff, I think that looks like it's coming.
Yeah. I'm not clear after we come out of incense, I'm not clear how high, where exactly the arms go as we rotate and draw in.
Well, they're actually as you go there, you're again in a sense rotating that sphere between your hands.
Okay.
So the left is sinking, the right is rising, and then they're going out slightly. Do you want to see that?
Uh, maybe in a moment. Let me,
Okay.
why don't you see if I'm getting it first?
Okay.
Um,
So relax your shoulders, drop your elbows.
okay. This ends here.
Um,
Is it higher? Is it
Yeah, it's right
middle
there.
down to you?
Re-
Oh,
you,
I've been going a little bit too low. Yeah, I've been
yeah,
going too low with that one.
you want to hit the middle and lower dantians.
Yeah. Okay.
So drop that right elbow. Yeah. As long as the elbow it needs to be lower than the wrist
Okay.
when that's possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not true with the left arm, but with the right arm, it has to be because as soon as you get up even an inch or so, it begins to close off the shoulder joint.
Right. Right. Okay.
So just play with that upper arm in each of them and find where does your shoulder release?
Right. Okay.
And it might be a little subtle, but
Yeah.
it just takes like an inch of that elbow rising, and all of a sudden the shoulder is impacted. And
Right.
if you do more, because you were getting, I mean, I'm sure you can't see on there, but you were getting your elbow almost to the same height as your wrist.
Yeah. I can see that actually, and I could see even, what it does to your shoulder when you do it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Your
Yeah.
eyes are better than mine. Good. Let me look at Bill here for a minute, but
Yep.
you could practice if you want.
Okay,
Yep, I will.
I'm gonna ask questions while I go
Sure.
through because there are any number.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I love
And
questions.
obviously what I'm taking is that I need to simplify this thing. That I have, Lord knows how many extra wrinkles and stuff that
Huh. Okay.
so,
Uh-huh.
the first question is when the step back occurs.
When you rotate to the left, first you've got to shift back and get your weight. Are you 100% on your right foot? I didn't see the shift back.
Yeah, okay.
So let the hands, as you
So,
shift back,
they.
they're bending in and separating. They're just coming in. Now they're not going down here though. See, you're right. You are adding
Yeah.
a lot that you don't need to. So you're here. When you shift back, they just stay at the same level, but they're coming in. They're not going off somewhere. All they're doing is separating and coming in. And then when you step, that's what moves the arms. That step moves the arms. And that rotation and shift back moves the arms. Okay.
Placement of the foot.
So you're actually going into a bow stance,
Okay.
but here we're doing a back weighted, not only back weighted, but 100% back.
Yeah.
Most is.
Okay.
Which means that when you do that final part of the movement, when you step here, you have to let that right foot turn forward. Or you won't be able to, you'll
Yeah.
be in an
Yeah.
awkward position.
Okay. So the fists form just before they set.
As you're turning right.
Yeah.
So you step back to here. They're actually starting to form here already. But they continue here.
Okay. Then do they release?
Sure.
Okay.
So you're back and you're going to rotate to the right. So they release and twist and bend in, and then they go out.
Okay. Okay, this one. I know I have.
Yeah, you had
uh,
too much up and down.
Yeah.
They have to change, they do go up
Yeah,
and down
they
like
reverse.
this,
Yeah.
but they don't. They don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so you're really just doing this right in front of you.
You know, that's probably what I should practice. Just the, you know.
Yeah,
that,
just
yeah.
because if you can get this and this, that's the movement. I mean, adding the feet
Yeah,
makes it a little more
yeah,
complex.
as I said, I need to simplify from what I've been doing.
But
and,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Left, right, right, left.
Hmm.
looks simple.
Yeah. It ain't easy, but it is simple.
David, and just watching you do that last bit you just did, it looks just like a variation of wave hands, is what it looks like.
Ah, it is in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Being 100% weighted on the foot makes it different, but
Right, but as far as the rotation of the hands and the
yeah,
ball of energy essentially and all
yeah,
that, it's just
that's
very
the
much.
same principle. I mean, that's eventually that's part of what you're trying to feel is all the various spheres, the energy that you're working with simultaneously.
Hmm.
Because you start with the sphere in which really your lower dantian is the center. So it goes forward, back, sides, down and up.
Right.
It's all around you.
Hmm.
But then you have the spheres of energy between and not always between, but that are related to the arm movements and the ones that are related to the leg movement.
Hmm.
So clearly when you go from here, there's I'm on the right side here at the beginning, grasping a sparrow's tail. So here's one
Right.
one sphere. That's easy to see. We turn and we rotate that sphere. That's not the way we do it. We're I can't talk and do this. We go in, out, in, out. And here we're talking about a much bigger sphere. But we worked with smaller ones as we were going around
Right.
through the movement here. But it's the same one. But
clearly there are places where, since we were just working on it, where's the sphere here?
Well, it's kind of your left hand is sort of on top and your right hand's on the bottom, right?
Well,
I mean,
actually,
it's
you're
compressed.
talking about two separate
Between-
spheres here.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say it's that, but it's also one between that and your body is what it looks like you're holding a globe or something.
Well, you're
You know,
always,
like a beach ball.
that's right.
Yeah,
The space between the arms is always ideally
right.
spherical as well.
Yeah,
That's part of why the if you remember in the 8 gates practice, we did a lot of variations of the Chenzijin.
yeah,
That's
Yep.
what that was about, was beginning to be aware in a simpler way of all the spheres of energy that you're dealing with.
right.
Um,
Hmm.
and being aware of how they change, how they grow and compress and expand. Yeah.
Right. So you were saying when you're in incense, the spheres, the upper hand is cupping one sphere, the lower hand is cupping a second sphere.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
How are we doing on time? I have no idea.
It's a little after 11.
Yeah, good. So, what happens after gargoyles? Any memory of?
So when you finish that gargoyles, stated gargoyles. That's gargoyle. It's not that way. Let's see. I have to think about this. So here's the first one. Here's the second one. We're going to go in to sweep the lotus from here. So you've got to shift onto that left foot, and there is a very subtle rotation in there. And one of the things is to be aware of what's appropriate angle of your arms for the kick. So yes, the ideal is about waist high. I can't do that anymore. So I'm not gonna try to pretend that I can. I can't do that. So you're getting prepared for this as you come onto that left foot. And this movement, you're expanded here, and as you come forward, this is bending. It's very subtle because the extension is the kick, and the extension is only here. It is only the kick. Okay? The rest of the movement, stepping to the front corner, is actually bending back in again. So when you shift forward here, you have bent in, you're extending bend. Extend. You follow me there?
Yes.
So it's really kind of a tricky moment, because usually when we do sweep the lotus in the yang style, it's a bigger movement and it isn't followed by such a quick other movement. But, and also depends on your balance. Clearly mine is no longer quite as good as I would like it to be. But you have the kick, you have the in, and you have the out. Okay.
Right. What's the energy with the kick?
What's the energy?
What energy would you describe as
Oh,
associated with-
what energy would you describe it?
Well, I actually think of it more as like a striking energy for
Like
Jing or
what?
something like that.
Like,
I think of it more as like a striking energy than one of the eight gates so much, like a Fajing kind of an energy.
yeah, but those are composed of the 8 energies, not something else.
Well, yeah, I'm saying it's probably a hybrid of some sort. If I had to guess, I would guess um uh almost like push and sigh together, sort of.
I think actually it's G
Yeah,
principally.
right. Okay.
Um, see, we're inclined to think about those 8 energies as only being in the arms.
Hmm.
And that is where we focus the 8 gates. You can also think of those energies of the legs in terms of the 5 elements, but they can also be thought of in terms of the 8 gates. You can do both.
I guess that's what I'm thinking of it more in terms of the arms because when I say like sigh or I'm thinking of the arms pulling down as we kick.
I don't think you are. I think you're endeavoring to strike and if you're doing anything, it's G and split.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
This is why I'm asking because it was very unclear to me.
yeah,
I had to think about it for a minute when you said, "What do I think it is?" Because outside of just thinking of the striking energy, I hadn't really tried to break it down because it was not clear to me at all.
yeah. The other way to look at it is to think of it in terms of the 5 elements, and that
Yeah.
forward movement is metal.
Huh.
So you're cutting the other person down with a metallic chop.
Right.
So you can
Okay.
think you can actually describe it both ways, but it's you know really when we talk about um, combining the energies of the legs and the arms, the principle is that you are combining the energies of the 8 gates in the arms and the 5 elements in the legs. That's
Right.
the 13 steps of Tai Chi.
Right. Yeah. Haven't thought about that in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So um but the actions of the legs can be described by either method. But
Right.
if you're really talking about it in terms of um, Tai Chi principles, um, you're combining the 5 elements and the 8 gates. So 2 things are happening, of course, when you do a kick like that. What are the arms doing? In a martial standpoint, they're not just slapping the leg as it kicks the other person down. That's not what's going on.
No, I see. I thought that they were grabbing the person or pulling
Uh-huh.
the person down, drawing them in. That's why. That's the sigh to me. It was pull down.
Right, that's in the arms.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
In the
yes, you
arms.
would be right in the arms.
So you're saying what? Well, you didn't. Your question. Maybe I didn't hear your question, but didn't you say what are the arms doing?
No.
Oh, I missed.
Well, I meant what energy. Yes, I did. I meant what energy are the arms applying?
So to me, again, that was pull down. Or
Yep.
I don't think it was on because on would be more out. I think it's more side to me.
I think I mean, pull down is certainly one of the ways it could be.
Yeah. That to me, that's the first one that comes to mind.
It could
anyway.
also be Lou. So you're pulling them in, they're absorbing
Right.
their energy as you kick their leg out.
Right. Yeah, well, it does feel like both because it's not just a pull down, you're pulling them into the leg, really. So,
Yeah.
so
You
yeah,
don't
I
want
see
them,
that combination.
you don't want them to get away.
Right. Yeah.
So
Okay. It's 11:15.
so that'll give you something to work on this week.
Yeah.
So last minute questions here. The-
No, well, I've got a question for you after you stop the recording, though.
Oh, okay.
I'll ask you after you stop the recording.
Sure. You have any
Yeah.
last
No,
question?
I mean, those the breakdown in the gargoyles have long been a sort of messy area
Yeah.
in terms of intentionality, I think.
Interrupting your flow.
Yeah, and I think today gave them some good solid muscle, so.
Good. Good. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great week.
Yeah, you too.
Too.
Jeff, have a good week.
You too, Bill.
Let me see. I've never tried to do it this way, Jeff. Just a second. Let me see if I don't know if I can. Right, Bill. Take care.
Take care, Bill.
Um,
Well, I mean, you could leave it recording if you want. It's a question about your ongoing YouTube channel, really.
oh,
Um,
that's right. I can't stop the recording without losing you.
that's fine. My question, David, is just I know you're not going to be teaching forever, and when you decide to stop teaching, I mean, I probably speak for a lot of your students when I say I would like to see your YouTube channel stay, but I'm sure there's also it costs you something. So I'm wondering,
It doesn't
what it
cost
costs you on a monthly
it doesn't
basis, and
cost me it doesn't cost me anything.
Oh, it doesn't.
Nope.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's great then.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I would certainly be willing to pay, some kind of stipend monthly to keep it up there, and hopefully others would as well. Because there's so much on there that I would like to continue to use over the years. So,
Yeah.
but if it doesn't cost anything, all the better.
Yep. No,
Okay.
uh, I have not so far been charged by YouTube.
Right. Huh. Okay. So, I mean, I've never had a channel on this, so I have no idea how it works, but I know a lot of people have ads on their channel and you don't. So I assumed you have to pay something to avoid having ads that stuck into your videos after the fact, you know?
No, I don't know. I think the ads, if people want to have ads, then I think they have to pay.
Hmm, okay, all
But
right.
no, I don't. No, and
Well, that's good news all around.
yeah, I was at one point I was concerned that YouTube would limit how much I could have, and I
Right,
I did remove a few of the very first videos.
right.
Um, but they apparently don't really care.
Oh, well, that's great.
So
Okay.
um I don't I can't I will hope that that continues.
Yeah, okay. I didn't, I mean, like I said, I assumed that it was costing something and I didn't know if you had given any thought to how to keep
No,
it going once you stopped,
no, I
you
was
know.
gonna leave it
having people
for
income.
now. I'm sure
Okay,
eventually um YouTube will decide what it's gonna do, but
okay,
initially I would just leave it.
all right. Well, that's
Good.
good. Okay.
So have have the rest of your family gone to Australia?
Not yet. We just booked the flights. Kate and Jesse leave on, I think it's June 8th or
Oh,
6th, something like that. They go basically for almost 8 weeks, which basically is almost all of June, and they come back on August 1st, I think. So
uh-huh.
yeah, I think they leave the 6th to the 8th, and they're gone for almost 8 weeks, and they
Oh,
get
good.
back like August 1st, 2nd, something like that. So that'll be good for them. Jesse, basically his whole summer vacation, they'll be able
Yeah.
to spend there. And Kate's arranged it with her work where she quits, but they're gonna rehire her when she comes back in August, kind of a thing. So
Oh, good. Good.
yeah, so
Well, I
everything's good.
hope you don't get too lonely for through
Uh,
that time.
I I have contact with Jesse every day. The, Just basically like FaceTime kind of a thing, Zoom. So some days it's just for a couple minutes. Other times it might be a half hour, 45 minutes. It all depends on what they're doing, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do get kind of lonely, but it also gives me a respite for a while too, and time to get a lot of other things in my life in order and to start getting a little more sleep again and that kind of a thing. So it
That's
works
always
out.
good.
Yeah, no, I make good use of the time, and I as long as I get to see Jesse every day, that's okay, which I
Good.
do.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
yeah,
Okay.
all
Uh,
right. Well, thank you. Have a good week,
You too.
and take care, David.
You too,
Bye
buddy.
bye.
See ya soon. Bye.